You are now listening to Akashic Knowledge for Spiritual Growth and Transformation. Your host along this journey, Pleiades.
Greetings, my ethereal friends. I'm Pleiades with my brother, Bryan Divisions, and we are recording the fifth episode of the Akashic Knowledge podcast, where we today are going to be briefly touching upon the concept and then bringing it into whatever conversation spawns from it, based around the concept of staying grounded amidst the context of this changing environment that our world is in, socially, politically, economically, everything. We're in a very turbulent time right now where there's a lot of negativity coming to the surface, and there's also a lot of positivity being spawned as a result from it. But regardless of each polarity, there's a lot of shifting that's happened. And that is happening, and that is only going to accelerate in its happening. So it's a very essential thing to speak on, to give people a basis of how to stay grounded amidst this context. So real quick, I'm gonna just mention that Bryan Divisions and I, as well as Cruz and Illuminati Congo, just put out a song a day or two ago, or depending on when I drop this podcast, like a couple days, like it's out on all streaming platforms right now is what matters. It's called
it's out.
It's called Sit and Reflect. It's like a spiritual cipher of just all four of us just spitting bars about spirituality with the context of everything. The song itself is called Sit and Reflect, which that alone could even fit the context of this whole quarantine situation that everyone's in, that a lot more people are spending time just sitting and reflecting. So it's a good song to check out. And I also want to plug in real fast before we hop in that I just launched a Patreon page called the Pleiadian Ascension Collective, where we are going to be gathering a community of individuals to not only provide the resources and information and guidance along the path of ascension of each individual, to give you information and insight and perspective on how to traverse these changing times, very in-depth courses, writings, videos, live streams, podcasts, all that type of stuff. In addition to that, also a support system of people just like you and I that are growing along this journey, becoming a more refined aspect of our spirit, and having a support system for people that don't necessarily have it in their physical environment. We have this beautiful thing called the internet where we could all face-to-face come together. So if you're interested in that, you can either go to my website, pleiades.com with 3 eyes, and it'll be right on the homepage, or you can go to patreon.com/Pleiades, and it'll bring you to the Patreon right there. So without further ado, I'm gonna let my brother here introduce himself, and go ahead, bro.
Yo, what's good, man? Thanks for having me on, brother. Yeah, my name is Bryan Divisions, and I'm a producer, I'm an artist, I rap, I produce, I record, I mix, I master, I do all that amazing stuff. And then usually put my music into videos, and I love the video editing process. Working on a track right now. The track we have, Gratitude, that came out in Pleiades. We're working on the video for it right now. We were just talking about before the podcast how this thing is so dope, and we're just adding these little finishing touches. But I'm just like an all-around creative, and I channel that energy directly into music. You know, I've been on the path of self-actualization and trying to discover who I was and what the world was, you know, ever since I was in my teens. And it's kind of manifested to this life path of sharing my soul and expressing myself through music. And I mean, it's nothing more that I love to do. And especially with this changing time, you know, being able to ground myself into music and being able to release some energy and some emotion is extremely important. You know, so I know we're going to get into talking a lot about art and like music and expressing ourselves in this time, man. But yo, appreciate you having me on, brother.
Of course, man. Yo, it's an honor, bro. It truly is. Like, all of your music is exactly like, you know, I've had the honor and the pleasure of, you know, meeting you now in person. We first met in California and Los Angeles for the community healing concerts. And then, we drove out to North Carolina and Asheville to come hang with y'all for a couple days. And that was amazing, just beyond amazing, bro. And getting to know you. And first I got to know your music, obviously. I learned about you, and then I listened to your music, watched your YouTube channel videos and all that type of stuff, your music videos. And then I met you in person. And it's a really great feeling to be like, this person is who is behind the music. Like, it's sometimes you'll meet somebody and they are not an embodiment of the music they make. Like, they'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff and stuff like that, and it's not really who they are, you feel me? But like, as soon as I was in your vicinity of your aura, I was able to be like, yo, this guy really is about what he talks about in his tunes. And I'm just honored to be able to be on this planet with light workers such as yourself that are really just trying to genuinely extend themselves into all these different avenues of expression, all under the umbrella of raising the collective consciousness. It's really that simple. We all have talent. We all have artistic abilities that are just unfathomable, because most of us have been doing a specific thing for multiple lifetimes. So we're like hella able to express ourselves in a unique stylistic expression that you just got to find. And then once you find it, you just got to keep doing it. You grow from it. That's the path that's going to remove all the obstacles from your life, as long as you stay in alignment with it. And it's going to elevate those around you tremendously, just as a byproduct of you being elevated from it. It's going to elevate you because it's the path of your highest evolution. And the more that you evolve yourself is the more that you're going to evolve those around you. And I actually feel like that's, that being said, that's a good thing to segue us into the concept of what we're going to be talking about today, which is basically grounding with the context of quarantine and grounding amidst all the turbulence that the world is going through. One big thing as a general perspective to basically have upon it is this is a time of profound healing. Our planet is healing right now. The individuals of it are healing. A lot of the things that we have been doing, going to your jobs, even hopping in your car and driving to the store all the time, that right there is emitting carbon emissions that is going to be detrimental to the atmosphere of our Mother Earth. So down to the micro things to that, and then the corporations themselves, what a lot of these corporations are doing, not even to mention all the pollution of what it takes for them to be running, and all these types of things are now being seized, or at least tremendously lessened, so that decreased. And the earth is now seeing a tremendous opportunity for healing, which has already started to happen. There's places where you couldn't see a clear night sky for decades. Now you're able to look out into the night sky and see stars without all the pollution and stuff like that. Like, a tremendous amount of healing in a tremendously small amount of time because of so many people being isolated. So the planet healing, everything is reflections of one another. So with the planet having that opportunity for healing, it's going within itself and not having to basically expel all of the toxins and distortions that humans normally invoke upon it. Without having all of those distractions and distortions, the earth is now able to go within itself and heal. We are the earth. We're just cells on the earth. We are the earth. We're the same way. That's exactly what's happening for us. We're not having these distortions and distractions and things that are preventing us from going within. And this is time to go within. And when you go within, exactly, you detox yourself, not even just physically, yes, physically, but also mentally and spiritually, clearing your thoughts, embracing your energy, your emotions, your vibrational state of being, tuning into these aspects of yourself. A lot of people are bored. What bored really is just open to limitlessness. When you're bored, you're in a state of neutrality. This is when you're interacting with the field of pure potential. This is where manifesting happens. When you're bored, sitting home, just looking at your ceiling, this is a time and a state of vibration for you to plant seeds within your psyche to manifest your desires. So that's all a long-winded explanation of essentially being like,
yeah,
us healing ourselves is how we're going to heal the outside
I
world.
see
What were you saying?
Yeah, just no, I see that as such a beautiful point, because we're in this state of time now that no one's ever been in before. So there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of mixed emotions, there's a lot of that. But what we need to do individually is create some type of plan or some type of goal of something that we can achieve with our time. Because otherwise, it's funny, because within the amount of time that we all have now, and it's different degrees of people, because we have the time and we have the space where we live and the people we're living with and the amount of money we do or don't have. So all these things contribute to our actual state of mind and our experience. But regardless of all those variables, if we kind of create some type of plan or some type of goal or some type of focus throughout these next few weeks, where we know we're basically everything is slowed down and cut off from the old way, we can really best advantage ourselves to not fall into the depression and the boredom and then the deep, darker stuff. But I also want to say that it is a time to experience that stuff if it's there, because I've had days in the last few weeks where yesterday I was just extremely sensitive. It felt like I was on a psychedelic, but all of these more sad things came up in my awareness, and I was having realizations, and I was able to vocalize some thoughts I never even realized I had, because they were just really low and really deep. A lot of the conversations we have with ourselves, they're not on the surface level, they're deep within the subconsciousness. So being able to vocalize it and share it and express it, allows me to detox and cleanse. So I want to say within the craziness that's going down, I look at it like this, bro. If you took a snow globe that was just sitting on the counter, for a decade, and you pick it up and you just shake it and you put it back, and now everything is all over the place. I feel like that's what's going on right now. And
it's a good analogy.
All of the new the snowflakes, we do anything right now, anything could really happen in this moment. So it doesn't the old way of doing stuff, we now know that doesn't exist anymore. Everything is completely opened up. So it's just we have to look at it with a plan, with I'm gonna have my bad days, I'm gonna have difficult days, but I need to know what my grounding is, whether that's going outside, getting into the wood, making music, making art. There's got to be some focus, because we got to put our energy into something that builds in a world that looks like it's crumbling. But
absolutely, yo, that was such a beautiful analogy, man. You really put it very.
My phone's crumbling though.
It's all good, man. It's just a reflection. We know what the crumbling means. You know that the crumbling is a catalyst for evolution. And that's exactly what you're saying, bro. Is just taking the snow globe, and now it's it's exactly what you said it perfectly, bro. This is the playing field for manifestation. The grounds, the soil for planting seeds has never been more fertile than it is today. I'm talking in the past 12,000 years since the fall of fucking Atlantis, it has not been this fertile. In all this time, this is the time to set intentions, to create realities for yourself. When we hold an image with emotion visualized in our imagination is an actual place in a higher state of vibration than our current state of vibration. And what brings them into our current state is manifesting them through vibration. You emotionalize them, and that which you imagine is then given the energy to match the resistance of our current state of vibration of third density physical matter. You give it that energy through your emotion, when you're visualizing it to overcome that resistance and come manifest into this plane, right? Because of the current state of vibration of our entire planet, because we're getting closer to the central sun, the physical state of our vibration is increasing. There's a lot of astrological, energetic, celestial phenomenon are happening in every single spectrum. Our vibration is elevated. So therefore, if our manifestations, which happen in our imagination, is on this plane of frequency, right? This is your imagination. On a little bit of a lower plane, that's where our physical plane is. But as our physical plane increases in its vibration, it proceedingly gets closer and closer and closer to the spectrum of frequency of where our imagination is. So as our physical realm gets closer in vibration to the realm of existence where our imagination is, the resistance for your manifestations to become real or physical, is what I should say, is a lot less resistance. So you don't have to invest as much energy into manifesting things as the planet itself increases in vibration, and as each individual takes the actions necessary to increase their personal vibration. And that ties perfectly into how you can practically, on a step-by-step thing, kind of take action on a day-to-day basis to ground yourself, to keep yourself like in your soul when you're feeling things. Like, I resonate so heavily with what you said, how yesterday you were feeling so sensitive, like you were on a psychedelic. Yo, that's like the definition of what it's like going through this journey, man. Is like, everyone likes to talk about how you get into these heightened, powerful states of trance-like meditation and freaking see visuals while you're sober and stuff like that. But not as many people in this community are talking about the days where they feel like a little kid, that anything would set them off emotionally, and like you just feel all these dense emotions overwhelming you to the point that even if you do sit down and really breathe, it's like a lot of work to transmute that type stuff. And that happens a lot because the more that we step into light casts a shadow. So we are going to experience dualities. That is how we grow. You can't just keep on experiencing the light and then no longer experience the dark, because there is so much lessons and growth and expansion in the darkness, because you understand the light from a whole new perspective. In our higher state of being, it's like our fourth density where we're moving towards, it's pretty much all light there. It's completely light in the next ascension up. When we're in fifth density, it's nothing but love and light. There's still a little bit of duality in the plane we're going to, but obviously tremendously less. But the darkness has a lot of lessons. But that being said, I'm gonna just pass the mic to you if you want to basically like say any steps that you take personally to practically stay grounded, and activities that people can engage in to keep centered.
Yeah, bro. Well, it ties into the root chakra, and this has been like a huge area where I've worked on the last several years, because this was like the most balanced or unbalanced area that I kind of experienced coming out of like young adulthood. So really a big portion of what I've been trying to do is create a lot of continuity with positive habits, really grounding actionable, realistic, simple stuff, like working out, 5 times a week. So doing calisthenics, bodyweight training 3 times a week, and then at least going on either 2 sprints or 2 jogs. And then even beyond that, not counting just going on walks, as many walks as possible, to kind of move my energy out and not just be in the house all day. Because right now it's like a mission just to go to the grocery store. Like, you know how it is? It's like you got to really be focused. You go in and out, and you can't just like browse for stuff and like waste time anymore. So it's like making sure I'm staying sane by moving my energy around. So the physical part must be like the main cornerstone, and that kind of touches in with the food. It's a benefit because I normally do cook a lot at home, but now it's like 95% of the stuff we're eating is all cooked meals at home. So, that's extremely essential to making sure that you're getting nutrition, the nutrients that you need, getting a nice variety, getting the stuff that you enjoy. You already know me, man, been vegan for a minute. So I found my go-tos. I love rice, beans, veggies, sweet potatoes, tempeh, plant-based protein like smoothies, bananas, apples. Dude, it's just like, it's easy on that sense. So the food, I mean, we're also in a time, where we're very focused about our immune system. And I honestly don't feel like there's been enough talk about the fact that, hey, what everyone should do is increase their own health on a precautionary level, as opposed to like, let's just wait and get sick and what's the treatment? Well, let's raise our immune system. Let's make sure we get all the vitamins and minerals that we need. Let's make sure we're ingesting mushrooms that really help to recover the body and, create more red blood cells. So there's so many good things for that, like turkey tail mushrooms. God, it's popping off in my head. My buddy's he has this hot apple cider called Purifier, and that's what I take every day. So he's got all these vitamins, minerals, spices, herbs, fruits and veggies, of course the apple cider, all the different mushrooms. Damn, it's like right on the tip of my tongue, man.
Ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha root is in a powder that we have, but it's the
reishi, lion's mane.
Yeah, reishi, lion's mane. There you go, bro. They're like on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, just like stuff like that to just build up the body's immune system. I think that's extremely important. But the other main thing, man, is like I think cleaning is an awesome way to do some physical work while also just giving yourself a wind down, allowing yourself to meditate, because you don't always have to just meditate by sitting still and doing breath work. I mean, that's amazing. But if you're just cleaning or you're doing something where you don't have to really critically think, you can just kind of just go with the flow, something like a walk or cleaning the house, you can really allow a lot of those thoughts that have been suppressed to like kind of rise up and really help you understand like, okay, like stuff you need to process through. And then I think beyond that, man, the creative in the expression kind of aspect of this is like, whatever it is that you really actually have like always wanted to do, but really wanted to do it more, but maybe money was an issue or maybe time was an issue, like now is 100% the time to do it. So whether that is create music or make art or like learn how to dance or, just work on a side business and learn how to do marketing or whatever it is. I mean, this is like the main time where you have to like set some goals, set some habits and set some patterns so that every week that goes by builds. You're not just constantly stagnant, waiting on, the government checks or the government to do something. But we're building each and every week. So whether you're getting healthier, you're getting wealthier, you're getting stronger, you're getting more fit, you're getting more, clean, creating a better household environment, moving things around, there's got to be some progression. Because, the last thing I want to share with you before I send it back is I really see this whole thing as like a portal that's opened up where like we're saying, anything can happen, anything can go down, anything can shift, but there's gonna be a time where this portal closes back up, and the changes and the ideas and the actions that we've made during this period is going to just alter the new way that we're going to live life. So we have to I feel like we have to be very aware and take advantage of the time we have and the opportunity that we have right now, because this is gonna be a real shift. Either you use it to your advantage or you don't implement it or you waste it. I don't want to see that happen, so you got to do it. You got to just live life right now.
That's such an important aspect to touch upon, as well as everything you touched on. Really, is very, very valuable information, and definitely the perspective that this is going to close. This is eventually going to close. The fertility of it and the extent to which you can manifest right now is exponentially increased than its normal state of being with how you can manifest. And it is everything fluctuates. It is eventually going to go back down and then go back up and then go back down, so this is the time to kind of plant that which you want to see expand. And basically, like, it is the perfect time to set even small seeds to progress. Like, we were just talking in a mastermind meeting a couple days ago about basically a big topic of it was setting smaller amounts of goals for yourself and just focusing more on them so that you don't have to extend yourself. A lot of people that are having so much time right now, they're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then the day comes for them to do it, and then they do like maybe 1 or 2 of them, and then 8 of the things on the list didn't get done. They instantly start feeling guilty and resentment towards themselves and all these types of things that just take them out of the flow. And it's like, start by setting manageable expectations for yourself to accomplish, see progression, most importantly, feel the emotion of satisfaction from that progression, and then build up on that momentum. It's a great time to just like start taking action in avenues of exploration that you haven't done yet. So if you had this idea for a business that you've been sitting on for a while and it's like very daunting, either because of, like you said, time, resources, maybe you just have an insecurity that you're working through, or regardless, now is the greatest time ever to start taking steps, and then turn those steps into bigger steps, and then turn those steps into running steps, and then you eventually leap. But you got to take those small steps to begin with. And sticking on the topic here of staying grounded, definitely something that I feel like, on top of everything you said, that is very beneficial, that has served me tremendously well along these times, is journaling. Is basically in some way, shape, or form expressing, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be written expression. It could be like a voice recording, it could be a video recording, it could be a writing, it could be any type of self-expression, like explicitly expressing your emotional state of being. Because a lot of, as we obviously said earlier, a lot of emotions that need basically your awareness to be placed on them to transmute them are surfacing, because so many people are always rushing. They're not still. So when you're not still, you can have all these disharmonies in your emotional body that are not surfacing. They surface through stillness. That's why to transmute your energy, it happens really through meditation. And like Bryan said, very true, you don't have to sit down with your eyes closed, sit in meditation pose to meditate all the time. You could walk and meditate. You could listen to music and meditate. You can literally do anything and meditate if you enter a thoughtless state. It's usually easier for most people, especially people that don't normally sit down and om and meditate, like it's usually a lot easier for people to get into a meditation via their passion. Like, I know me personally, I've had, I can't even count how many times I've been in the flow state with writing, or like producing or creating some type of musical thing, and I don't really think at all. Even when I'm writing lyrics, it's like, I know you could attest to this, Bryan. It's like we ain't even writing the lyrics, we channeling it. Like, it's out there and we're just allowing ourselves to be open for it to come through us. I'll listen to something I wrote. I'm like, that, how? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's because we're just basically entering a thoughtless, open, pure potential state when we're doing this. And it's like a form of meditation and expression. So like, on top of what I'm saying with writing it down or doing explicit video or audio expressions and stuff like that, you could also do what Bryan was saying, right? Taking this time to really put it into music. Or if you like to dance, make videos of you dancing, or of any type of thing. Or you like to draw, you could draw and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to share it. It can just be for yourself. Obviously, everyone has something worth sharing, so I implore everyone to share your expressions. But steps. You might not be at the point where you're trying to share it yet. You might just be getting into even expressing, period. You know, so like, be patient with yourself. You don't necessarily have to take that leap into sharing it yet, but this is definitely the most relevant time to express to a very deep extent, because through the stillness, through the not going to the stores and chilling with your friends and everything that you normally do, naturally emotions are going to arise, and this is the time to clear all of it so you can move forward without the baggage of that which doesn't serve you. And understanding that traversing this world of form and understanding these emotions and embracing these emotions is how you're going to work through them. So rather than, if you feel like abandonment, trauma, depression, anxiety, if you feel these things come up to the surface, like you just wake up one morning and then you feel these emotions, rather than, all right, I need to get myself back in the flow state, I need to get myself away from this feeling and stuff like that, rather than trying to just stay in this happy place, which is what a lot of people in this spiritual path try to do. They try to put themselves in a bubble and isolate themselves from negative or lower vibrational energy, lower vibrational emotions. Understand that to enter this state where you do have like an auric bubble around you, where you do kind of just only experience high vibrational emotions, you get to that state through transmuting and traversing through the lower vibrations. So rather than trying to distract yourself and stay in this place where everything's butterflies and rainbows, go through the place where it's the opposite of butterflies and rainbows when it comes up, and send it love. It's really just that simple, of just like embracing it with the intention of lovingly expressing, not even expressing, but accepting that that's a reflection of yourself. That's you. Your darkness, your lower vibrational egoic characteristics, these are different reflections of you that you must understand each part of yourself to understand the whole. So and through feeling, that's like what you said, when that stuff comes up, you just feel it like 100%. And like, whether it's the inner child crying out, or it's, you know, the young person in you that wanted this but never got it, whatever that aspect of ourselves that comes up is, you know, the best thing we can do is actually like feel it. And when we say like give it light, we're giving it like attention, giving it awareness. You know, imagine if I fell and scraped my elbow. Elbow's rough, man, but I don't put any bandages on it. I don't put any medicine, nothing. I just let it just, you know, scar up and be like a wound, and it gets worse, and it just, you know, it always impacts me. It's like that with our subconscious and with our memories. So if those things come up, then we have to like take care of them. We have to put the medicine on and put the bandage on, which essentially is feeling it, expressing it. So whether that's, you know, yesterday I was like, I was at a track and I was like, can I just scream right now? And I was like, whoa! Just not making sure that I even did it in a way, if someone heard it, they wouldn't think I'm screaming for my life, or like, you know, but I just needed to scream, man, like, so it was a way of transmuting some anger, some frustration. And then even if you need to cry because you're experiencing stuff that's sad, I mean, you know, like you're saying, as we evolve more, we evolve past a lot of that stuff. So we might be able to express it more easily, or feel it or accept it more easily. And it slowly gets less and less and less, you know, until we leave, I think, the human life, where we're never going to fully get rid of it. It's just part of our existence here. But I also feel like we don't need to get rid of it, because that's part of our makeup. But it's just like, when things come up, we can more easily understand that we have to express them, you know, to ourselves, whether it's, you know, like you're saying, man, we have these different aspects of who we are, and we're constantly changing. So there's an aspect inside of me that I'm the sun,
but there's another aspect in me that I'm like the father figure, or I'm the brother, or I can be my own mother in some ways. You know, the friend to myself. You know, all of these aspects of how I can portray. I have all these different parts of me, and we all have these parts of ourselves that often are not fully accepted into ourselves, and that could be the ego being afraid of bringing it in and accepting it and admitting like, oh, this thing happened. And it never has to be anything super crazy. It doesn't have to be, you know, a death or a huge sign of abuse. It could just be a letdown from the world. That's all it is. Is a perspective we had, and then we were shown otherwise. But the thing is, all this stuff is so tangible and it's so real when it comes down to operating from the spiritual and moving into the emotional and then the physical world that we create for ourselves. It's so important to feel it, like feel
absolutely
it all
that
the way, you know?
That's really where the transmutation happens. It's like, I love that. I absolutely love that example that you put together with the arm. It's exactly like that. All it takes is putting your awareness on it. And I'm gonna also piggyback off what you said about essentially like, this is always going to be an aspect of human existence, these emotions rising up to the surface and stuff like that. You can never expect it to not happen. And that is entirely true. And even in addition to that, it's not, we can never change that which happens to us. We can only change how we react to it. So it's rather than going along this path expecting, oh, as I start to transmute all these emotions, I'm gonna get rid of my emotional density and then I'll reach a zen-like state of inner peace where I don't experience any negative emotions. This will never be true. So long as we have physical bodies, this statement will never be able to possibly be true in the existence that we live out. And it's about understanding your emotional reactions to it. We are always going to be in this world, but we don't have to be of this world. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're not always going to be in this world. You know, it's everything fluctuates. But as long as we are alive and conscious and aware in this world, in this plane, we don't have to be of it, meaning we don't have to be attached to it. That's basically what the Buddha said, I'm pretty sure. Be in this world, but not of it. And that suffering is the root of all. I mean, attachment is the root of all suffering. So when you start to experience, not even experience, but observe how you react to emotionally dense experiences is where the growth happens. And when you can get to a point where it's not that you don't experience emotional density, but it's that emotional density doesn't really affect you or like serve as a detriment in your life anymore, because your reaction to it is to transmute it, and you are able to turn it into its opposite counterpart and boost yourself and grow and learn and evolve and strengthen as a result from it. But what a lot of people do is they distract themselves from it, or they fall, they scrape their arm, and they're like, the body will do it, fuck it, like, it'll be all right. Or just like, let me go drink some alcohol so I don't feel this, or something like that, as an extreme example. Like that's really like a metaphor of what people do. Is like, if something bothers them, they have something in their life happen, replace the I'm gonna go drink alcohol with I'm gonna go chill with somebody who distracts me from my life so I don't have to pay attention to healing it. Let me go engage in this activity that places my consciousness in a fantasy-like reality where I also don't have to focus on mine, and fill in the blanks here with everyone's individual situation. And there you have the equation for how so much of our societal like population, or our global population, has learned to exist in this state of being where when they fall, they don't put any Neosporin or peroxide or alcohol or anything on that cut. They just let it be. But now it's so beautiful to witness so many people that as soon as they fall, they're just like, oh man, let me give this a little bit of attention. That's all it is. You can literally just put your hand on it, send a little bit of energy to it. Like that right there is how you could start to take steps towards just giving things your attention, man. Giving your emotions your attention. So like everything you said was pure gold, man. So let's see.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, it's just, it's important to, like, I think, hear that, because, I'm sure there's people who are, feeling a lot of this stuff rise up. And unfortunately, it can manifest in, some ways that can hurt people, hurt yourself or hurt other people. So it's just, I just want to reiterate that, like, our feelings, we have the ability to accept them and to transmute them and to greet them with love. And you might not be able to fully catch on to that saying, depending on like the spectrum of who could be possibly listening, who could be going through anything or at any point in time, because different people have different levels of severity or a perspective of levels of severity in regards to the things that come up and how they deal with stuff and how they affect them. But the truth is, you can accept those aspects of yourself, or you can embrace those things without it hurting you forever. It'll be painful as you feel it, but once you feel it and you hold it, it's like, giving it a hug. Once you give it a hug and you just hold it, and then you realize you're the one giving the hug, you're the one giving the love, you're the one sending the love, and you start seeing yourself as a source of love. So you're giving that love, to an aspect of yourself, and it can be met like that. So if you're going through something that's intense and you have frustration and you need to release, remember, there's always an easier, better way to do anything, I think. So if it's an emotion like anger, don't break a wall, break a door, don't scream, ruin your vocal cords, punch a pillow on a bed. That's not going to break in half. Don't ruin your hands, don't ruin your walls, don't hurt another person. Channel it in a different way. If you're upset, go on a walk, run and make your body breathe like it's never breathed in like the last 10 years. These types of things of just pushing this energy through, because I know a wide range of people. I know people that are handling this well, and I know people that are not handling it well. And especially when you talk about finances, when it comes down to the situations that people are in this specific time, it's insane. It's insane. And a lot of people are stuck. So I just want to just share again that whatever the emotion is coming up, I promise you that you are able and you're capable of letting it out and of feeling it in a way that you can integrate it and not have to harm yourself or anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's really the key of what it all is understanding that it's you and accepting it and embracing it accordingly. I'm actually like relevant to that. That reminds me of a story recently. So, I'm a Reiki, practitioner. I'm not attuned. So I just kind of am sensitive to my own energy and I'm able to do it and stuff like that, but I don't do it officially or anything like that. I don't charge people for sessions. I just give people healings and stuff like that. And I was doing a healing last week on somebody who was having some back issues, and it was actually one of my most powerful Reiki breakthrough experiences. There was actually a point in the session where I was pushing my energy into her, and I instantly got an emotional, just a big surfacing of emotions, right? And then the clarity of realization from that emotion was essentially I couldn't distinguish herself from me. I was me performing the healing was just, I was outside of my me, my ego self, my false self, and I was viewing her as me, like Derek, the human of myself. And I was feeling the aspects of myself that needed to be healed. And what I realized after the session was those aspects were actually tied into the aspects of her that needed deeper emotional healing as well. Because Reiki isn't just physical healing, it's emotional healing as well. It's aligning all aspects of your being with source energy, just bringing it back into alignment where it can harmoniously exist, and then it heals itself, you know? And it felt like I was healing me. And that's where the big breakthrough emotional realization happened, where like that was one of my most powerful healings that I've actually performed, where it felt like I wasn't healing another person. It felt like someone, because it didn't feel like I was me healing me. It felt like I wasn't me. It really felt like I stepped into source, is what it really felt like. I stepped into my highest aspect, and then I was pushing energy into me, understanding that this person is a reflection of me. We are all reflections of one another. Everything reflects one another. We're existence experiencing itself. So to take that experience and apply it into exactly what you're talking about is basically like seeing that the aspects that surface of anger, of all these things, are other aspects of you that just need, what does anyone ever just want in life? At the core of everything, everyone just wants love. Everyone just wants to feel love. They want to give love. They want to receive love. That's why the hippies from the 80s, when they realized the answer is love. Like, it's a very simple, like, how do you fix the world? It's love. It's just all the distortions and abstractions that, you know, take people away from that, the pure simplicity. And people like refuse to accept that the solution to all of the world's problems can be said in a single word. But when you start to understand that, like, these aspects of yourself that are surfacing, they just want love, and that's really what your awareness is. When you're placing your awareness on something, you know, Ram Dass, that's his saying, we're loving awareness. We are just loving awareness, and you placing your awareness on it is exactly like you were saying, giving it a hug. You know, you're just basically like, you're sealing, okay, anxiety, okay, depression, okay, suicidal thoughts, okay, anger. Just come on. I know it's what you want. We all just want it. Just it's okay, man. Like, it's okay. It's a rough time. Like, just really treating it like that. Like, I'm being a little funny with it, but it really is like that. It's just kind of,
that's legit.
Yeah, bringing your emotions and just like, yo, I love you, I appreciate you. And like, me personally, where I'm at in my life, actually, like a couple days ago as well, I as well was experiencing a substantial amount of even crippling like emotion due to a bunch of things that were surfacing from my life in regards to past human experiences and stuff like that. And it was so crippling that I had plans for the day, like 3, with like people that I was gonna collaborate on a bunch of, I canceled all that shit. I stayed home, and I was literally, you know, I was meditating for a substantial amount of time, and then I basically just like sat there on my wall and was just really feeling these emotions, and it was so overwhelming. It felt so terrible. It felt so overwhelmingly miserable. But amidst it, I actually started like laughing, like out of like real genuine like happiness, because like, it sounds interesting to say out loud, but it felt so good to feel so much, even though it wasn't a positive emotion.
Yeah.
Just to feel that much, it's almost invigorating. You know, it's what we came in this plane to, because I've experienced, you know, as we all have, like a fair share of suffering in this incarnation thus far. And like, you know, from that suffering is what has allowed me to expand to where I am, as well as all of us could say that as well. It's through the strife, through the suffering, through the adversity that the expansion and the evolution comes. And when you feel these dense emotions, it's like a telltale sign. Like when you feel absolutely miserable, when you feel all these intense emotions, it's like that's literally like the universe being like, that's expansion coming. Like expansion's coming from that, if you choose to allow that process to happen, basically by following everything we've been discussing about like hugging it and embracing it and transmuting it. Once you transmute it, evolution just spawns from it.
Yeah, because it's like, it's basically saying like, it just can't be the same, you know, like you're gonna look at it differently. Yeah, man, I mean, some of the thoughts I had, the awarenesses I had yesterday, it was just like, it was really tough to like accept certain things I never thought of before. But I was like, wait, that's why this happened, or that's why that person did that. And I was like, I never even thought about that. I'm like, man, that's kind of upsetting.
That's really funny. It was that exact same, a lot of those similar things with what I was experiencing as well.
And it's just, yeah, it's like, so why was it yesterday that, you know, that stuff, I mean, I'm telling you, just like a wave of something brings back a memory, and then that memory makes me think about, you know, this, and that. But now with my new perspective, I'm like looking at it, I'm like, well, that's not why that happened. And then I'm like, dang, dude. But, you know, now, today, I woke up and, you know, that stuff doesn't bother me in the same way it did subconsciously yesterday. So, it is very synonymous with, you know, just cleaning some dirty dishes, you know, and like getting rid of all the crumbs that are stuck to the side so like you can eat from it, you know. And it's like, you know, now moving forward today, you know, I'm opening myself up to, you know, a new focus with my mindset, because it's like, even on a subtle, small level, there's been a bit of growth from what happened yesterday. So I might not necessarily see it today as much, but just from how I carry myself, you know, over the next year, or the things that could happen, it's just so important, man, to just like feel this stuff, accept it, and like you said, realize that you can integrate it, and it's going to open up a whole new world for yourself. And man, it really is the time, dude, because I really felt like within the last like 3 weeks, so much stuff within my life has changed on a positive note and on a higher level, that it's very clear to me that like the time is now to, I mean, normally you'll take action on something and it might take a lot of time, but I feel like in my case, certain things have popped up in my world that if I take action on those things, stuff happens quick. Like the goals that I would write down on my board, I'm like, I've already achieved those goals. That was fast, dude. So now pushing up new ones. And I think obviously we can't be doing the same stuff. The same stuff we've done before isn't going to get us to a different place. But I think we're in a climate now where, like I said, with the snow globe analogy, now that everything is up and moving around, we might be able to see some stuff that was there that we didn't see 3 months ago. You know, or maybe an idea we had deep in our mind a couple of years ago, we can implement now, and now's the time. So this also connects to what we're talking about us being all reflections and everything being energy and source. And then what you said earlier about the imagination, and I see it as like everything that exists within the imagination space exists in some area of time and space. So if we want to access it in our personal world, in our physical first-person reality here on Earth, we have to be like, first of all, extremely committed, but we have to be able to see it and then be able to create. I like doing this. I like creating a linear path, a linear logical path to my goal. And the way I've seen that this all works is that linear path is not going to take me to my goal. It'll be a different way, because the universe knows way more than just I do. But if I can tell myself, if I did this, and this, and I could be like 100 years worth of work, I could get to that point. And at least tell myself it's possible. And then that's when I open up the door to new things coming in, which then takes me like, you know, imagine I had to walk from New York to North Carolina. I could walk there, and it could take me a long time. And guess what? If I start walking, then I'm like, well, I'm going. And guess what? I might find a bus, or I might find a cab or whatever. And the next thing you know, I just saved days off of my trip. That's what I'm experiencing now, and this is what I'm seeing happening. I'm seeing a lot of stuff just up in the air. It's all up for grabs. And just like be more aware, be aware of what it is that you really want. You know, write your thoughts down, like you're saying, the journaling, being able to sort your stuff out so you can have a bird's eye view on what you're doing is extremely important. To just keep yourself updated on a weekly basis, maybe even daily, of like, what am I doing? What are my goals? Like, what I don't want to just like, perfect example, you ever play like an old video game, you know, from like PlayStation 2, and then like the character like doesn't know it's against the corner?
I know exactly what you're talking about, bro.
Just
when you just don't touch the remote and you just let it do its thing, and it's just like
yeah, I wanna know where I'm going. I wanna have my hand on the controller, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yo, that was a real nugget there, bro. You really did say a real nugget there, a gold nugget, and that was that you understand that the linear path to achieving something is 9 times out of 10, most likely 10 times out of 10, not gonna be the path that makes it manifest. But you gotta take action, and you gotta start somewhere. You gotta create a path. And it's like, I put it in one of my songs. I said, be stubborn with what you want, but be flexible with how you get there. And that's really what it is. Like, you understanding, like, I'm a walk from New York to North Carolina. I'm a get there. And in terms of like the means at which you get there, that's where the flexibility and the openness has to come into play, because you got to recognize, like, you know, why are you going to attach to how you get there? It's what you're trying to get to that you're manifesting here. So it's like, you got to be open to, like, let's say for example, that you want to, we'll stick with that analogy of walking from New York to North Carolina. You want to get there, but for some reason you have this extraordinary focus that, like, I have to walk there. Like, that's going to be the only way that I can get there is if I walk there. Like, this is a fucking journey that I have to do. You know, this is the only way. This is really, like, so relevant, though, because so many people take the path of the most resistance to get somewhere. They're like, for me to have a financially relatively peaceful life, I have to go through all these years of school. I have to go through 40 years throwing my life into work until I can finally retire, hopefully before I die at age 60 or 70 or something, and then I could go golfing and be peaceful. You know, that's like the equivalent of walking from fucking New York to North Carolina, when you might start walking one town over, and then some cab driver is like, you look miserable, bro. You need a ride. I ain't even gonna charge you. You just want to ride, like, you know, like on some universe stuff, you know, like that's when you start to. But if this person was so stubborn and like, nah, I need to walk there, you know, it's like, it seems so counterintuitive from the higher perspective, but that's really the state that people live in. They're like, oh, I have to achieve this way, rather than having the flexibility and the openness to accept that other possible ways that deviate from the original linear plan is a possibility towards bringing you closer to your goal. And that's the type of expansive state of being that we're all starting to move into. It's really that openness. It is all just up for grabs. Everything is so fluid. It's just such the opposite of linear. So we're breaking down these linear structures, these linear ways of thinking, ways of living, ways of interacting with others and finances and everything in this world. It's been linear for so long. And that can even be brought into the understanding the worldview of duality, which is the genders, you know, not to say male and female, but to say masculine and feminine energies. Like, you know, there could be a man with more feminine energy than a woman. So it's not necessarily has to do with physical anatomy or gender. It's more about just the energetic dualities of our existence. The masculine energy is more of the linear, analytical, like structured, straight lined type of energy. And then the feminine energy is the dualistic opposite of it, where it's more fluid, it's more free flowing, the scenic route, it's a lot less
Nice.
rigid, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we're actually planetarily, to understand a linear and non-linear, that's actually another way of just saying that we're switching back into the way of being that is in the most harmony with the frequency of our planet, which is the feminine. The planet is a feminine energy. We live as cells on the entity of a living, like primarily feminine energy, Mother Earth, like Mother Pachamama, Mother Gaia, whatever you want to call it. It's a feminine energy. And we've been living in an energy of masculinity, which is disharmony with nature for countless generations. And this has led to the destruction of nature. It's led to the disharmonious state of being of the people and animals and all the life on Earth. And, the list goes on. So we're starting to finally see the realization that this exclusively masculine way of being is not how we're going to harmoniously coexist with nature or ourselves. So obviously, ideally, what it really is, a true utopian state, is the balance between the masculine and feminine. But right now, what we're seeing is, because it's been so much masculine for so long, we need so much feminine now to bring it back into balance. And then once we pour all this feminine energy back in, we'll start to reset the balance, and then we can exist within a state where the linear and the non-linear, the form and the non-formless and the formless start to merge into a state where they harmoniously coexist. And with that, I feel like that's a great way to kind of start to wrap up this session, because I haven't been strictly keeping track of time, but I feel like we're about to hit an hour. So yeah, bro, definitely this has been an extraordinarily, I could feel the valuable information that has really been shared today that will benefit those who are receptive. And I'm really appreciative for you coming on. I'm appreciative for everyone tuning in, for sure, and just grateful that we have this platform of technology to be able to interface and share this information, bro. Like, truly.
Yeah, likewise, man. Like, we got into some really good stuff, man. And I think too, some of the analogies we've been able to come up with and help communicate a lot of deeper stuff on like a simpler, easier to understand level, relating to our inner childs, because like that's an opportunity for us to feel all that, man. And I just want to say too, before we go, I want to reflect that I love that you brought up the disharmony of the masculine and the feminine right now, because I really do look at that as almost more of a source behind a lot of the issues going on.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, it's just like you said. At some point, we're in a predominantly feminine planet, and at some point, if we can align back to that, which is the creation of more of the art, more of the music, more culture, less being in a box, less
stepping into the right brain.
Yeah, being open-minded, being able to just imagine. Like we're saying, the imagination exists, but do we want to allow ourselves to tap into all that exists there? And that's things that we can bring down into this physical plane. But that is the key, is just more love, more forgiveness, more acceptance, especially with the males. So much love for you for recognizing the feminine within, and accepting yourself and like forgiving yourself for things, forgiving others. That's where the true embracing of the feminine resides, not just for men but for women. But as us being humans, being able to accept and forgive, it's all with the heart. And like that's where we got to put a lot of focus in the next few years to make this big shift happen. Oh, that's what we'll talk about next time, man.
Oh, definitely, man. Oh, you already
Yeah.
know we're going to have you on next time, and we're going to be a lot more prepared, too, because it's a whole mission to get this
Technology,
going.
bro.
Yo,
Oh,
you
my
can't
goodness.
live with it, can't live without it, man. Technology's a funny thing, but
1 week, it's like perfect. And the next week, I'm like, how do we even set this up?
that's exactly how it be over here, bro. Like, pour all this money into a technological device, and then like it'll be rocking, and then it'll just fluctuate. And I've like I said earlier before we got on, bro, like I just realized that technology does its thing. It's an entity almost. It's like an intelligence, you know. You just kind of got to accept it for what it is. It's like, look, you've helped me so much in my life. I'm so grateful for your existence. I'm appreciative of you. I love you. And I would love it if you would work right now. And like, I sound ridiculous right now, but these are really the thoughts I'd be sending to my technology when I'm over here editing and about to export a song. And then I'm like right in the final stages and I haven't saved in a while. And then I get the buffering and I'm like,
Please,
Lord
I know.
Jesus. Like,
You gotta go do like 3 laps around the block real quick and like light some sage and like close your eyes and walk back and look and hope. I know, man.
exactly how it be, bro. But yo, it's been an honor, bro. It's been an honor and a pleasure beyond words, bro. I'm excited for the next one of these, man.
Yes, and our the gratitude music video
Yes.
dropping soon. One of these days soon.
Yeah,
man.
the video's basically done. So we just got to pick a date, really. Like, so yeah, stay tuned for that. Make sure you follow Bryan Divisions, just Bryan Divisions on all like social media platforms. You'll find his music on all platforms. Check out his YouTube, all these types of things. Just look into Bryan. And then, like I said earlier, if you're interested in joining a collective of ascending beings on Patreon called the Pleiadian Ascension Collective, check out my website or the link in my Instagram bio. You can find it on like all my platforms are connected. The links are everywhere. So just find, Pleiades.com, go to the Pleiadian Ascension Collective and check it out. So appreciate everyone. Invest in this energy exchange. Thank you for receiving. Thank you, Bryan, for expressing. And
Much love, bro.
see y'all in the next one, man. This was an honor.
All right, love y'all. Peace, man.
Love you, man.